Kia ora whānau. Just doing a quick video here. What you see in front of you are two aprons from Freemasonry aprons. They were sent up to me from the South Island. The reason why I'm doing this video is because Peter Hurinui Jones was a Freemason, and that's not commonly known. But when I was taken through his collection at the Waikato University, I was taken through by Dr. Hemi Whanga, who had showed me Pei's apron. It was exactly the same as this. This one is leather. They're not all leather, but this is from the Blue Lodge, which consists of 3 degrees. Now, my informant within Freemasonry had done some research for me and found out that Peter Hurinui Jones had reached the 2nd degree of Freemasonry. He never became a Master Mason, and he became a Freemason in 1944. Now, if we look here, this is also an apron from the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite, I think it is, and there are 33 degrees in this, I suppose, branch of Freemasonry. You'll notice over here the square in the compass. Notice that the compass itself is pointing down. And there's other symbolism here as well. Not too sure what the tassels are. These little things here look like a ball and chain. Look, there's what I see here is the compass pointing upwards to heaven, and if you to turn it around, then you'd see the symbolism of the all-seeing eye. Along with what was sent with me was a constitution of the different rules and and some of the obligations of a Freemasonry. This is just let me just quote here from a summary of the obligations of a Freemason. You'll see number 1, you agree to be a good man and true, and strictly to obey the moral law. Number 2, you are to be a peaceable subject, and cheerfully to conform to the laws of the country in which you reside. Number 3 is interesting. You promise not to be concerned in plots of conspiracies against government, but patiently to submit to the decisions of the Supreme Legislator. Masons have had a bad rap from conspiracy theorists, but Joseph Smith was a Freemason, and many of the early brethren as well. So that's that there. Now, I think probably the main purpose of me doing this video is that Peter Hurinui Jones has had his manuscript on the Tuhi Marei Kura, or the Tainui Wharewaringa, his writings published. They've been sat there unpublished for 71 years. They're based on the writings of his grand uncle Tawano, Hurinui Tawano, as well as other writings from other sacred schools, especially from Wairarapa. But so if we're to look at his writings, we're to interpret them really from have a look at the Freemasonic influence. So I'm just going to show you some of that Freemasonic influence in his writings. But here we have a certificate of a Mason. This certificate was issued in 1965. But my son's grandfather great grandfather was a Freemason, and he has exactly the same certificate. You'll notice here, let's look at some of the symbolism in the iconography. You'll see here Moses over here holding the 10 Commandments. You'll see King Solomon sitting on his throne there. Masons trace the origins back to the temple of King Solomon. You'll see here 7 stars, an astronomical representation here. I believe that could possibly be the Pleiades. And you have the moon, but you have the all-seeing eye. You'll see the all-seeing eye in the early Mormon iconography, or was part of the iconography of early Mormonism. The Hurinui was on many of the certificates that were issued to the early missionaries. I've seen the certificate of Hakawhanga Hidini Whanga, when he was asked to come to New Zealand to proselyte for the church. His certificate had an Hurinui on it. Over here you have, and this is either Jacob and Boaz, the two pillars here. You'll see the motif of two pillars, or that dualistic motif found out throughout the ancient world and in Māoridom. You have here the apparatus that lays the cornerstone. And over here you have a diadem or a step pyramid, and there's 7 steps here. And if you look closely, there's a compass. Notice that it's at the apex and it is pointing down, not up, because it's coming from heaven down to earth, circumscribing the earth here. So what does this have to do with Pei Hurinui Jones? Well, here is a drawing from Pei Hurinui Jones, which I have got a hold of. This is a step pyramid, or pautama, we'd call it in Māori. This is the 12 heavens, the drawing of the 12 heavens. This is not necessarily tainui kōrero, but I see that this kōrero here is very similar to, if not the same, as Wairarapa. The names of the heavens are the same from Wairarapa. However, I were not to say that this isn't also tainui. It's a bit difficult to know. But you'll notice over here is the pathway of the males, or the men, from Ranganui Tamaki, Tamaku Nui Arangi, and then to the top, Tiki Orangi, the 12th heaven. So there's 12 steps, 12 heavens. Down the middle, he calls it the Ahurewa, or Toi Ahurewa, the vine by which Tāwhaki had climbed. Over here you have the female ascent path. Now, from our orientation, looking that way, it would seem that the men ascended on the left and that the women ascended on the right. That is incorrect. The orientation is from Eagle's position, from here looking towards us. So that it would be the males on the right and the females on the left. Now you'll see that in that representation in an ancient ceremonial rite called the kawanga, which is the ceremonial opening of a building, or wharenui, or whare, of importance. I have information about a kawanga ceremony that was done in Rotorua at the Whakarewarewa by the tohunga and great warrior, depending on what perspective you have, the great warrior Tarangi Tahu, who's about 82 years old and had performed the kawanga ceremony. The interesting thing about that, in relation to this, is that he had performed the first part of the kawanga ceremony on the top of the roof. He sat on the roof at the tiko of the gable, and he sat there and uttered his karakia. The second interesting thing is that when he entered into the wharenui, he had put his left foot forward over the sacred threshold, which represented the female, the female line, because it was women that would go into the wharenui first to whakanoa it and to make it safe for females to enter to the building. So his left foot forward crossed the sacred threshold, which is taha wahine, and then his right foot went forward, which is taha maui. So we see that represented, not just here visually, but also in some of the ceremonies, and I'll talk about that in my upcoming article. But I just thought this would be of interest to you. When we're reading Pei Hurinui Jones's kōrero, we must take into consideration of his Freemasonic background. Alright, I'll see you in the other video. Ngā mihi.